Coach me, coach. Good morning. Today we are not reviewing a book. Instead, we're going to talk about a topic that I really get probably more questions due to my background and my experiences than any other thing. And they're like, hey, Coach Martz, what do I need to do and what do you recommend as far as finding a strength program to get my child better for their particular sport? Well, first thing, the best way to become a better basketball player is to be part of a great basketball program and have a great coach. Best way to become a better baseball player, have a great baseball program and have some great coaching or a good system. Soccer, football, the list can go on and on and on. I'm not going to change that answer. The best way for any athlete to get better at any sport is to play that sport. Now, where we kind of fall into that trap as a parent is we find those people that say that they're an expert trainer or they're an expert conditioning specialist or they have a boot camp body thing and they can do this or they're the world's strongest, mathlete. I don't know. But in all truth, here's the deal. Sports is the best way to get better at a sport because that's where you're getting skill acquisition. Now, if you are trying to develop strength and you're trying to get your athletes stronger and faster, easiest answer is this. Find coaches who have experience in training athletes. Specifically, not just trying to say like, I'm designing a program for your soccer player or your basketball player or your baseball player or your football player, but someone that develops athletes. Because right now, if your kid is younger and they play a multitude of sports, trying to specialize that training doesn't necessarily always make sense. You are trying to build a young person that has a good foundation in all athletic areas. Now, when people go, well, hey, Greg, I've heard people say the word, well, what does it take to be baseball strong? Well, the myths and the legends that go with that is you're not trying to find a 1-pound baseball and get better at throwing it, or you're adding 2 pounds to a bat and swinging it. All you're doing is messing up mechanics, fundamentals, and timing, and that's exactly the wrong way you want to go. Number 2, you want to avoid the gimmicks. Some sports have what I call the gimmick strength, where they're gonna try to make you think that, hey, having a heavier this or heavier that while you're doing those activities in sports are gonna really make a humongous difference and make things going through. You're not really building strength. Again, you're just messing up fundamentals of skill acquisition and motor learning from that sport. The only way to get stronger for a sport is to strength train, to lift weights, to do calisthenics, bodyweight exercises, and a mix of those from a coach who has a foundation in developing athletes. They have the knowledge base to identify weaknesses. They can see where your child might be struggling in certain areas, and they're not doing it as a large, giant group circuit. They can actually identify what your kid needs more than anything else. Now, same thing. Some of those people try to implement what I call the gimmick lifts. But here's the truth. Squats, deadlifts, bench presses, military presses, pull-ups, core exercises. Those are there build strength. Those will directly make you into a better athlete. Now, same thing. How do I identify what those are? Because, hey, Greg, there's bodybuilders, there's deadlifters, and powerlifting, and there's strongman, and there's CrossFit, and what do I know what I'm looking for? And there's so much information out there on social media that it's almost a flood. Well, here's the deal. You're not necessarily looking for aesthetics, the person that's ripped up, shredded, and doing a lot of bodybuilding stuff. You're looking for people that actually work with athletes and taking their ideas and their foundations. But in all truth, having a coach that can do one-on-one distance training and personalizing a routine for what your kid is and what their weaknesses and their needs are is pretty important. Price-wise, that's probably going to cost you a little bit, just like you would. Now, if you're a travel parent, if you're paying for soccer lessons or batting lessons or personal one-on-one coaching, it's probably going to be comparable to that. So don't be surprised when you see the sticker shock of the numbers on that. Some people are less than others. It also depends on their level of involvement. I have distance clients that I definitely deal with on a different level than I do with my personal clients that are closer to my home. So that's big. Secondly, what are they doing speed-wise? Are they working on speed and fundamentals? If your child is trying to get faster and stronger with this coach, they should have a foundation in what's going on with proper motor mechanics as far as running form and how their body posture is going to be. It shouldn't just be they just go out and they dog them in sprints every single time they're out there. They should be working on how run form works, where their arm action is, and how it's fitting in. this is something that you've got to have, because messing that timing up can be an issue. If they're working with agilities, it doesn't really matter if they like to use agility ladders, they're using hurdles, as long as you're trying to do something to get the feet moving in a proper rhythmic pattern. Because every sport and every athlete has a certain way that their body's going to move with that. I do a little mix of everything. And do they have any kind of plyometric plan? Now you're saying, well, how do we know what all these look like? If you were a financial planner and I walked into your office to make you a client and you become a client, you would actually have a mapped out progress of how it's going to look and what my investment's going to be like. Same thing. If you go to a coach and say, hey, here's what I want to get from my child, here's what I'm looking to do. This should have an evaluation. This should have a breakdown of what they're needing, what they have its strength in, and then how they're going to implement that for the next 10 to 12 weeks of working with your kid. If not, I'd be a little leery. If they're that person that you walk in and they're like, oh, here's what our athletes are doing, and they just show you a big map on a board of what things are happening, they probably have what I call the cookie cutter system of like, everybody's going to go through the same thing. And yet, let's be honest, you're going to get what you pay for. So, I hope this helps. Any other questions, feel free to leave a comment, reach out. I'm always out there. But hey, coach me, coach. God bless you. Have a great week.